Last December, I played Fortnite for the very first time. I know. It was during my annual trip to see the boys and watch the Game Awards, aka the Keeleys. This particular trip happened to line up with Epic's introduction of the Rocket League Racing Music Festival and LEGO Survival Modes. They were all hyped, and I was sucked into finally trying one of the world's biggest video games. I was hooked, surely and swiftly. Thanks to the power of crossplay, we were scattered throughout the tiny apartment playing on a PC, 2 Switches, and a PS5. It reminded me of my Halo 2 LAN party days. And it wasn't long until I was, unironically, uttering the phrase, "Where we droppin', boys?" And just how amazing is that drop? Skydiving out of the battle bus, after thanking the bus driver, of course, down to a chaotic island that changes up every few months is one of Fortnite's best mechanics. You might not think it, but the drop is a lot more than just falling down to the island. The "where we droppin' mechanic is made up of 3 key parts. There's the rush. As soon as you jump out of the bus, you can dive bomb straight down at exhilarating speed. Seeing other opponents glide alongside you gets the blood pumping as you race to touchdown first, scavenge supplies, and not die first. The scope. From the skies, you take in the totality of the island. From the battle bus's path, you look at the map and landmass below. With the map changing in some way each season, there is a fresh sense of discovery as you drop over and over and over. The agency. You pick where to land. The spawn location is not predetermined. You have the agency to pick what you believe is the optimal or sweatiest landing spot. Will you land in an isolated location and slink around for supplies, or land right in the most tense battle arena and go for immediate glory? All of this is conveyed in a singular mechanic that takes, maybe 30 seconds per match. It is a well-designed and tight mechanic that helps reinforce the addictive feedback loop that is a victory royale.
Let's go! Get out of here, Kratos! Come back to the shop!
Really, where we droppin' is an age-old question. As a species, we have a history and fascination of exploring the phenomena of what goes up must come down. And if it falls down fast, that's even cooler. So of course, game designers would gravitate towards bringing this particular flight of fancy into our hands through a controller. Us gamers have been dropping from the sky for a long time. There's an undeniable hit of dopamine when we climb the mountain and glide our way down, or soar through the night sky ready to protect the city, or grapple, glide, and explode our way to destabilizing a dictator. The list just goes on and on. I think I got hooked on falling with the Assassin's Creed series Leap of Faith. I mean, come on, diving off of the highest tower into a pile of hay is a quintessential game mechanic. It's such a perfect little dopamine hit that makes you want to climb more towers, way more than just being able to fill out a map ever could. But Fortnite has all of these beat because of the combination of the rush, the scale, and the agency in a consistent and repeatable high-flying mechanic. I think a part of that is due to the live service multiplayer nature of the game. There's an inherent pursuit of replayability and positive feedback there, more so than any single-player game. That is, until Tears of the Kingdom stole the mechanic. I just started Tears of the Kingdom for the very first time a few months ago. It originally came out right when we moved, and I just did not have time to play. And since I'm off social media and vigorously trained the YouTube algorithm to not show me Tears-related videos, I had no idea how players were going to go from land to sky. I had no clue there was an entire underground world. It's really cool stuff. Now, Zelda isn't new to a skydive mechanic. Skyward Sword, the precursor and father of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, gave players dominion over the skies first. But we were limited to dropping onto tiny islands or falling down into specific holes in the clouds and selecting which location to land at from a list. It wasn't a seamless world. It was masked by clouds and loading screens. The scope and agency just weren't there. In Tears of the Kingdom, from the very first jump off the Sky Island, it is the Fortnite dive. You get all 3 components. The sheer rush of falling down, the scope of Hyrule and all the quests that surely lie below, and the agency to go anywhere and follow your curiosity. And then you get it all again when you enter the depths. But how does Zelda keep you engaged with and in pursuit of the drop? How does it prompt you to ask, where we droppin', Link? With its own feedback loop and mechanics that all pour back into getting you airborne and falling. First up, we have 2 of the abilities, Recall and Ascend. Ascension is the easiest and most direct. Its purpose is to get you on top of buildings and mountains. It's a mesmerizing video gamey mechanic that always hits me as the solution to a problem, like a cartoon anvil. Duh, Ascend. Recall, on the other hand, ties into getting you skyward less directly. Recall allows you to temporarily reverse the flow of time on an object. All around the world, you might spot a rock just falling from the sky. Climb on top and recall the rock to ride it like an elevator back into the sky. These falling rocks act as a natural elevator that politely interrupts your exploration to ask, do you want to drop again? Abilities aren't the only way back into the skies, though. There are far more instrumental, structural means to getting airborne. I'm talking about Skyview Towers, baby. Think the towers from Assassin's Creed, but instead of jumping down into a pile of hay, you are launched skyward to scan a region and then be asked the glorious question once more. These air-cushioned launch pads blow Ubi Towers out of the water because the reward is a pure delight and an uber-satisfying mechanic that facilitates exploration, discovery, and spontaneity. Just like towers, chasms also litter the landscape with gloom bubbling up to the surface, their goopy glow in stark contrast with the landscape. These are inviting in a more buckle-up cowboy sort of way. The fall down into the depths is tense. It's almost all rush, with the scope and agency being modified a bit. You can't see all of the land below because of the all-engulfing darkness. Instead, the scope is expressed by the sheer size of the gaping hole and how rapid and wide the mouth of the chasms get. Agency is pretty much gone entirely, since you can't really choose where to land below. Like Skyward Sword's portals to the surface, these voids act more as portals into the depths. I think that's okay though, because 1, there are so many other opportunities for agency, and 2, because the depths are supposed to have an air of suspense and tension and dread about them. Removing the agency and dropping you into the unknown adds to that feeling. All of these mechanics and systems feed back into getting you airborne. Being airborne is just a means to an end, though. The real key to the feedback loop is to get you to poke and prod your curiosity, to look out over the thrilling, exciting, reactive world and follow that innate compulsion. The developer wants you to engage with the world. They want you to feel the rush, absorb the scope, and exercise your own agency. No matter if it's Epic or Nintendo, they're asking you where we droppin'. And it's up to you to answer that question. Whether the answer leads to surprise, hilarity, tension, caves, wonders, towers, dubs, or thrills, it is a question I am eager to answer again and again and again. Now, where we droppin', boys?